my bow pair usually lasts through 2 weeks of shows. So I had a week of shows in Germany a couple weeks ago, and then this is the second week. And as you can see, I have only a couple performances left. This is my last piece of the evening. It's a piece that I wrote for my son Alex shortly before he was born. It was the last thing that I completed on the album, but it wasn't the last thing that I recorded before he was born. That was actually all the cello parts for a film called The Conspirator. Did anybody ever see that? It was a Robert Redford film. Nobody has seen that movie. It's about Abraham Lincoln. I think it's really good. Yeah, it has Mr. Tumnus in it.
Sweet.
He's the guy who played Mr. Tumnus. I can never remember his name. James McAvoy, Mr. Tumnus. Anyway, he's in the movie, and I think he's cute. But all the cello parts in there are me, and I at that point it was. I was pretty large, and because I'm tall, I could play the cello for a long time into the pregnancy, but it wasn't until really that last week that I was touching the back of the cello. And I had to create sort of my little trademark, which is layers and layers of cello atmosphere. And for one of the scenes, one of the serious scenes, they wanted a lot of low notes. So I was playing these as loud as I could, and every time I'd play that, Alex would be like, "Whoa!" and then I had to stop, and I had to record a lot of them, and that was the very last thing, because 12 hours after I recorded that, I went into labor. So I think that movie brought it out. So if you ever see that movie, keep that in mind. And so I do a lot of music for film. I've been doing more and more of it, and it's very fun. I have a project coming up to co-write the score to a film about the gross national happiness of Bhutan. So that should be really fun. But anyways, so I'm working on my new album. I'm going to be working on that. I also did some music for this thing called the Kepler Project, which was a monologue that took place in a planetarium, and it's like Kepler talking about his ideas. So you get to see the problem of Mars and how snowflakes are formed and things like that on the dome. And it's actually currently traveling to planetariums around the country, so you can go to that. And it's called the Kepler Monologues. But meanwhile, I do hope to have a new album out by next year, and I feel like this piece, Optimist, is a really good kind of segue, because it was the last thing I did then, and it sort of ties into the next body of work. So anyways, thank you very much for coming, and I'll be available afterwards to answer any kinds of technical hair questions, anything you might have. Thank you.